Israel did not arrive in Egypt as slaves. They arrived as guests. Joseph had risen to power. Pharaoh trusted him. The land was open to his family. Egypt became a place of refuge during famine. Food was available. Protection was granted. The family of Jacob was settled in Goshen. At first, Egypt was a place of provision, but the Bible records a shift. A new Pharaoh rose, who did not know Joseph. This was not a personal disagreement. It was a structural change. The memory of Joseph's service disappeared. The system was no longer built on gratitude. Israel was no longer viewed as a family inside Egypt. They were now a growing population within it, and that population began to increase. They multiplied. They became numerous. They filled the land. What Egypt once welcomed, it now began to fear. Growth was no longer seen as blessing. It was seen as threat. What began as hospitality became suspicion. Suspicion became direction, and direction became control. The Bible says Egypt began to deal shrewdly with them. This was not open slavery at first. It was management. They were assigned labor, then quotas, then pressure. Their days were organized. Their movements were watched. Their output was measured. They were no longer free guests. They were now regulated workers. The system changed around them. Egypt did not suddenly decide to enslave Israel. It slowly reclassified them. They became useful, then necessary, then owned. As their numbers continued to grow, Egypt tightened its grip. What could not be stopped was contained, was burdened. The Bible records that Pharaoh set taskmasters over them. Cities were built. Brick was demanded. Straw was withheld. Their labor increased, but their freedom decreased. What had once been provision was now extraction. The system that once preserved them was now consuming them. Pharaoh did not enslave Israel because of rebellion. He enslaved them because of potential. Their numbers represented something Egypt could not control. So Egypt applied pressure, and pressure became oppression. By the time Israel cried out to God, they were no longer a family living in Egypt. They were a workforce owned by it. That is how it happened. Not through invasion, not through chains, but through a system that shifted from blessing to fear to control. That is how guests became labor, and how labor became slavery, and why the God of Israel would later confront Egypt, not just as a nation, but as a system. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe.